So today we're doing a CodingBat question called fizArray3. And the goal of this question is we're going to be given two numbers, a start and an end. You'll see that in the signature, the method signature here. We're given a start and an end. And we essentially want to start from whatever we're given, which represents the start. And we want to store in a new array increments of start all the way to end, but not including end. So you'll see here that the start is 5 and the end is 10. We store numbers, increments of 5 all the way to 9, not including 10. Same thing you'll see here that we're given 11 and 18. So this is the start. 18 is essentially the end. And we're storing increments of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, but not, of course, including 18. So we don't want to include end. Now, so if we were to, so let me go ahead and pick up a test case here and actually move to Paint so I can describe the situation. So we have, so this is what we're given, okay? And let me actually make this a little bigger so that it's more evident. So essentially what we want to do is we want to create a new array, and this array will store increments all the way up till 10, not including 10. So what you'll notice is that the length of the array, always look for a connection like this. The length of the array is the end. This is the end. So I'm gonna put E here. This is the end, and this is the start. Okay. And you'll notice that the end minus the start is actually the length of the array. So we'll do this here. We'll say, okay, well, int new array is equal to, new array is equal to new int, and then the length of the array, which goes in between these two braces, is the end minus the start. Now, what's the goal here? So we have this array, new array, and technically, since 10 minus 5 is 5, we'll have an array length of 5, which means we're actually going to be storing 5 elements. And each of these elements will have an index. Okay. Now, our goal here is in our code. Let's actually work our code and the visual process in unison. So what we want to do is we want to have a for loop, obviously, right? So for int I, well, actually, let me make the box smaller so that it won't become a problem. So we'll have a for loop. Int I is equal to 0, I is less than new array.length, because we want to populate new array. Okay. And what we'll do, and what we actually want to do, is we want to increment I, we want to increment, so if we want to start from 5 and then store it in this particular box. So we want to start from 5 and then store it in this box. So the way I would translate that is I would say, okay, new array, or actually let me change this to black. New array at I is equal to the start, right? Because that's what we're given. It starts from the start. And so that, I think, so on the first iteration, new array, which will be 0, will store start, right? And then what we want to do, if you think about it, is we want to increment 5 and then store 6. Actually, we increment 5 and then store 6 in the second box. So on the second iteration, so on the first iteration, I is 0, right? And so the 0 stores start. But then on the second iteration, when I is incremented, I then becomes 1. So now we're looking at this box, and the new array will store start plus 1. So it's best for us each and every time we go through our iterations, we'll increment start, so that every time, so on the second iteration, for instance, when on the third iteration, when I is equal to 2, what we do is we're looking now at the second index, okay, and we say, okay, new array is equal to start, but start on the previous iteration was incremented. So before start was 6, but then when we came down here on the previous iterations, 6, which was start, was then incremented by 1. And so the next time we come back around, start, which is stored in element 2, or at index 2, which references the element, will store 7. And so we repeat this process, and we gradually store increments. Now, what you'll actually notice is that so I'll actually go through this here. So we increment 5 and we store 5. Well, we start from 5 and then we increment 5, and then we store 6, and then we store 7, and then we store 8, and then we store 9. So you'll actually understand that unintentionally, this is what we wanted to do. We did not want to include the end number, which is 10. And why this is the case is because if you think about it, from 5 to 10, you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you were going to have an array of all the elements from 5 to 10, you would actually end up having an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements. But here, since 10 minus 5 is equal to 5, if we have a length 5 array, our index starts from 0. And so we actually only end up storing 5 elements, not 6 elements. So that's the reasoning behind that. So let's go ahead and go into our CodingBat. So we'll use a for loop, and I is equal to 0, I is less than nums.length, incremented by 1. And what we'll do here is, well, not nums.length, but new array.length. And int new array is equal to new int n minus start. And new array at given index is equal to start plus plus, or you could say start and then start plus plus, right? Okay, that works. Or of course you could just do start plus plus here. That also works.